Hi, my name is Haig Manoukian. I am an instructor for the JEP MSP program, and in this video I'll be going through Unit 1, Lesson 4 of the Spring 2020 MSP lesson plan. So Lesson 4 is colony counting, I'll start by saying that this lesson requires a lot of prep on your part. So I recommend starting to prep maybe a week in advance, ideally, just for the glue to dry. I prepared the materials a couple days in advance and the glue wasn't dry. So the first thing you need to do is get the petri dishes and pour about a centimeter of glue in them. Let the glue kind of settle and kind of go all around the petri dish on the bottom of the petri dish, and then add the rainbow sprinkles. These represent bacterial colonies that grow on the petri dish. So you kind of have to put a handful of sprinkles, but not too many, because the glue makes the color of the sprinkles kind of bleed out, and it makes it really hard to count. So put a few, but don't put too many. And then after you put the sprinkles in, I cover the petri dishes and tape them, and then let them dry for as long as possible to avoid that color bleeding. And then on the top of each of the petri dishes, I marked like a kind of a cross to separate it into 4 quadrants to make it easier to count for the students. And the students use clicker counters to count the colonies. And they kind of go nuts with these during the lesson. They click them constantly. So giving these right before you start the lesson would be good. Kind of keep the distractions at a minimum. So again, I start every lesson with a PowerPoint. So here's my PowerPoint. Again, Unit 1, Lesson 4. I call it Microbes. I ask them what they already know. So they tend to know a little bit about germs and germs causing sickness, and germs being small, and killing germs with washing your hands and stuff like that. So I kind of address that. Why do we get sick? Stuff like that. And I give a definition of a microbe. And then I give a definition of a bacteria, which is kind of a specific kind of a microbe, I tell them. And they kind of have the idea that bacteria are all bad, but I try to explain that there's good ones too that help you digest food and so on. Here's more of that. So then I introduce a petri dish. This is kind of a new vocabulary word for them, but I explain it as kind of a container for bacteria to grow, like an aquarium or a fish tank, but for bacteria. And then a colony is just a town of microbes that can live in this little aquarium. And then I explain how microbes grow. I think this is good for them to know in terms of the bacterial colonies. And so unlike humans, which I compare the bacteria to, bacteria kind of just copy themselves versus growing slowly. So I made the analogy that if we were just to like cut ourselves in half and then make a copy of ourselves, that's basically what bacteria do. So I have this video. I think this is one of the best videos I've found. It illustrates it very well. It starts with like a little bacteria. I think it can play. Yeah, and then it just grows exponentially, and they think this is crazy. So got the point across. Great. So then I start the activity. So here's some pictures. This is the petri dish, and then with the cross on it, and these little sprinkles are colonies. I'm not sure how they got it to not bleed like this. Maybe adding the glue and letting it dry, and then adding the sprinkles on top would be good. So then they get this worksheet, and then you have them count one of the quadrants. And then some of the students will understand, if I count one quadrant and then multiply by 4, I'll have like a good estimate. Some will just try to count all of the bacteria. And then I kind of did a review. What did we learn? And then I did story time at the end of this lesson, just to kind of review the topic of bacteria and bacterial colonies. So again, these worksheets, printing these out is important. And here's some pictures from my lessons of them counting. Here's a little clicker right there, the orange one. This one's a little blurry. This is good. So this is one student, just as a cool story. This is one student who's helping the other student. She understood that if you just counted one of the quadrants, then you could multiply by 4, whereas this student just counted all 4 quadrants with the clicker. So good, it built some teamwork and stuff. So yeah, so the students really tend to enjoy this lesson, and that makes them excited about what scientists do. So that's the end of lesson 1. Hope these videos were helpful, and good luck. Thanks.